What's going on, everybody? Hello, how are you doing today? It's Friday, and it's the day before Christmas Eve. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're getting ready for the holidays, if you do that kind of thing. I didn't fade that out before I stopped it. That was dumb. Anywho, I hope you're all doing well. Oh, dang it, I forgot. With all the stuff going on, I forget to do this. This is the thing I like to do, is the Jon Does, episode 82 with my director board. And I did it once a long time ago and forgot to do it for a long time because I just didn't have a place. But now there's, like fade-ins and stuff like that going on, so I don't know. But I do like the director board in the beginning to start it off. Anyways, I hope you're having a good day, like I said. Getting ready for the holidays, if you do that sort of thing. Before we get started here, because I got a lot of stuff to talk about today, don't forget to hit up wilddinosaur.com. That is the best place to support this channel. There are links to all the art that I do, music projects. New Pants is up there with me and Pat, and also my store where you can get cool shirts like this one. I can't see it very well, I'm sure, but I also got these tote bags. You guys have seen these tote bags. I like to show off my tote bags. They're good. They're real solid quality, and you get to choose the color in your handle too. There's a couple of color options. So yeah, check out wilddinosaur.com. If you order now, you probably won't make it in time for Christmas, but hey, start off the new year right with some Wild Dinosaur gear. So, yeah, let's just get into it. I have seen a couple of movies this week, actually. What was it, Tuesday? No, I guess it was... I saw the Fabelmans last week, and then I saw Avatar 2 for a second time with Pat. And then last night I went and saw Babylon with Pat. And I wanted to talk about 2 of those 3 movies because I already did my Avatar review, so suck it. Just kidding, don't. But if you were curious about that, go back and check out my Avatar review. It was up last Friday. Wait, no, it was up last Thursday. I did a special Thursday episode. So yeah, that's up there. It's doing okay numbers for me right now. And by okay numbers, to put it in perspective, I don't have millions of subscribers. I have like 50, but there's about 50 views on this. So great. About one view per viewer. So fantastic. I appreciate that. I just want to say thank you guys for everybody who comes here and listens to me babble about all the stuff that I do. I did start doing this for a couple of reasons. One being, like, I love talking about movies and stuff, and I hate annoying my friends and family that just don't care that much about, like, what's new with DC or Star Wars or whatever, because let's be real, a lot of people don't care about what's going on with DC or Star Wars right now, or if ever. There's a lot of things going on in the world, but also because I needed a place to, like, vent. not that I vent very much on here or anything like that, but I needed a place where I could communicate. And I'm glad that I've started to build this small little community here, my own little niche here on YouTube. So I appreciate that for everybody who's a subscriber and watches. Tunes, if you watch regularly, awesome. If you tune in every once in a while, welcome back. So let me get started with my first review, which is going to be the Fabelmans, which, if you're not familiar, the Fabelmans is essentially it's kind of a biography on Steven Spielberg, directed by Steven Spielberg. A lot of stuff happened to him that happened in this movie, but I wouldn't say it's a 1-to-1, like full on biography of his life. It takes a certain era of his life, basically the 50s through like the mid 60s, I think. It jumps around a little bit, but the majority of this story takes place in the 50s and 60s, and how his family moved around a bit. His parents were his dad was an electrical engineer, not an electrician, and his mom was an artist and concert pianist. And there's a bit of the story revolves around the contrast between the arts and the sciences. Not that it's a full on like battle between them, but it is representative in his parents, who if you're familiar with Steven Spielberg, he's been open about it. There's a documentary, I think it was out on HBO like a year or two ago. I never got around to it, but I'll probably watch it now. Talking about his parents and stuff like that, and they did divorce when he was younger. They moved around. I think he was born in like New Jersey, then moved to Arizona, and then ended up in California. And so let me just read the little synopsis here from IMDb. Growing up in a post-World War II era Arizona, young Sammy Fabelman aspires to become a filmmaker as he reaches adolescence, but soon discovers a shattering family secret, and explores how the power of film can help him see the truth. So they it's not the Spielberg movie, it's the Fabelmans. So they like renamed the family. And he goes by, the character of Steven is Sammy in this film. I'll start with the acting. I think the acting's great. Paul Dano plays Bert, the father, and Michelle Williams plays Mitzi Fabelman, the mom. And both of them are fantastic actors. Paul Dano's character, even in his worst moments, is still like a, gee golly, I wish you'd just finish up your science homework. Yeah, that's basically a lot of how Paul Dano is in this movie. Not to say that that's bad. He does play the typical like 1950s dad, like TV dad, essentially. And Michelle Williams as Mitzi Fabelman, she does a great job, but I think my issue with how she is portrayed in this film is it's a never-ending roller coaster of emotions with her at all times. It's very, she feels like she is an actress of the time. Like I don't know, like a Joan Crawford or Liza Minnelli, I think is maybe a better comparison. And I think she is like very melodramatic in a lot of her scenes that felt a little bit overdone in some of these moments. Like I was saying, this movie is a lot of science versus art mentality, and her character feels a lot like a lot. Excuse me. And she plays those emotions out in every scene. She just eats up emotion in the Fabelmans. I think she's a really good actress, and I think she does a really good job in this, but I did think there was a little bit of like, I don't know. It was just a little over the top, just a little bit. And it's not like a huge complaint because I ultimately ended up feeling like invested and involved whenever she was there. Um, and I'm going to say there's non-spoilers in this. A lot of this stuff is like public knowledge. It's like spoiling the Titanic, like the boat sinks. It's history. So there's not a ton to spoil in this movie. There is one scene towards the end of the movie where there's a big cameo that I really loved, and it's a meeting where he gets to meet one of his director heroes, and it's maybe my favorite scene in the whole movie. I don't want to spoil it though because it is so good, and if I try to explain it, whatever punchlines or however it comes off in the movie would probably be actually feel a little spoiled and maybe let down because I like told you what it is. That is the one moment that I don't really I want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil, so I am going to skip over my favorite part of the movie and also who the cameo is too. I was not expecting that and loved it when it happened. So yeah, if you do go to see this movie, keep an eye out for the later on in the movie for that particular scene. So Michelle Williams is great in this. I was not familiar with well, there's a couple of actors that play the same characters because there's really young versions of him and his siblings, and you get them for a little bit through the first third of the movie, and then it becomes a little bit older versions. Like Sammy is, I think, in high school, and you get a little bit older versions of his younger siblings as well too. I wasn't familiar with Gabriel LaBelle, but I actually enjoyed him in this movie. It's funny, as I was watching the movie, there are some very specific like features that I was like, I could definitely see this being like a younger Spielberg. And honestly, it might sound weird, but it was the eyes, like not like the shape or anything, but just like I feel like they probably used contacts because in like every scene, not every scene, in a lot of scenes, especially when there's like a moment happening where he's realizing something about a film that he's working on, there's these moments where his eyes become like it's that very how do I even say it? There's that sparkle in his eyes, and it almost didn't seem natural at some moments. I felt like it was I felt like there was contact lenses to like amplify whatever shine was bouncing off the lights. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but there was definitely moments in this where I was like, yeah, I believe this kid is like a young Steven Spielberg. I definitely bought it in that regard. Not to say that, again, like he changes his family name and stuff for the movie, so it wasn't like a one-to-one comparison. But I also think that it worked pretty well. I think he fit the role really well, Gabriel LaBelle, that is. There's a couple other people that pop up in this movie. Seth Rogen, I didn't realize was in this movie as well. Now he plays Benny, who is this all apparently happened in real life as well. Was friends with Burt Fabelman, like they're like best friends. And I guess over time, Michelle Williams is, I don't know how it worked out in real life, but in this film, you work out that over time, you find out Benny and Mitzi are actually in love with each other, and she has to, make the decision at one point what she wants to do, and it really like, you can see it tearing her apart in some of the scenes. And it builds up over time. You know, there's in the synopsis that we were reading earlier, it kind of alludes to, but soon discovers a shattering family secret that explores the power of film. Yeah. So that family secret, yeah, you know, he's putting a family film together, and he kind of starts to realize what's going on around there, and how he deals with that in his family is interesting. But it also it really informs how he perceives film. There was a couple of scenes that were really fun to watch, where he's this teenager, and he's in like Boy Scouts, and he's getting his Boy Scout troop to help him film some of these movies that he's making, and he makes this Western one, and they were fun for a bunch of reasons. One of them was on the technical end, when he ends up showing it, because he's watching all the kids do the fake gunfights, the cowboys shooting each other and stuff, and he's like, this just looks so fake, you know. And then he shows it, and there's like gun flashes and stuff like that, and people are like, his friends in his Boy Scout crew were like, how did you do that? That's insane. And you know, his dad asks him on his ride home, he's like, that was great, how did you end up doing that? And he explains how he ended up doing that, which is cool, you know. Like, being a cheap filmmaker today, it's relatively easy to accomplish gun shots. You need just a little bit of sound effects, which you can rip, you know, audio, and some gunfire muzzles, which they make hundreds of packs of those. You know, you can YouTube like green screen muzzle flash and just key out the background, no problem. It's easy to accomplish these things these days. I mean, there's so many other ways that you can do it, but it's always cool to hear how something was achieved, you know, super cheap back in the days of celluloid. Which this is not going to be the only movie where we talk about old Hollywood. My second review today is very much about old Hollywood as well. And I'll have a conclusion, I guess, at the end regarding both of these films. So Seth Rogen actually does a really good job. He doesn't have a ton of moments, but there's a really good one towards, I guess it was middle of the end, where family's moving away, and he's getting a camera for Sammy, an Ariflex, an old ass Ariflex, which, I don't know, I think he ends up giving him like $35 or something for an Ariflex, and I'm like, oh man, if you want an Ari camera now, they're like $25,000, something like that. Actually, I'm curious, I want to know what kind of prices we're looking at. Not the 35. Yeah, okay, here we go. Ari Alexa. This is with the lens mount and everything, but this is $45,000. Yeah, it's the Ari Alexa SXT Plus camera body. I guess it is just the body. Yeah, $45,000, and I'm obviously there's a different generation of cameras now, but yeah, when he pays like $35 for that, I was just like, go fuck yourself. No, it's all good. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole thing with cameras, but I'm using this mirrorless camera up here. The camera that I use for this stream is a Canon R6 mirrorless, and the other camera I have that I really need to pull it out and use it. I need something to shoot. This is my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, 6K. Love it. I love that camera. It's so great, and to be able to afford to do cinema quality stuff at the price points that we're at today is crazy. But I mean, you look back and in the Fabelmans, he pays Seth Rogen $35 for an RA Flex, which was probably still like maybe 70 or 80 bucks or something like that. I don't know. Let's see if I can pull that up. How much was an RA Flex in, let's say, 1964? Oh, no. Yeah, it's just trying to give me like, oh, you want to buy a vintage camera? I'm like, no, I don't. I just want to know how much it was in the time period. So I'll get off the whole camera conversation. I mean, it is relevant to a young filmmaker what cameras are available. The other, I guess it's not just a scene, but it's like a section, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. Sammy's uncle, Boris, comes to visit, and Uncle Boris is played by Judd Hirsch, who, man, Judd Hirsch is amazing. I have seen him in so many things throughout my life. I actually grew up watching Taxi with my dad when I was younger, which maybe started my Andy Kaufman phase, I guess. I don't know. Is that phase over? I don't think it is. Andy Kaufman's one of the greatest entertainers, in my opinion. I mean, Judd Hirsch just has so much stuff on his resume here. I'm not even going to, like, pick out stuff. Just well, he is in Man of the Moon, speaking of Andy Kaufman. Man, that was 1999. Just a quick little aside. I did, drama class when I was in high school twice. And the drama class at my high school, they only had one class. And the advanced drama class was the same class as the lower level class. So it was just a mixture of freshmen, sophomore. Well, I think it was sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And I did it 2 years in a row. And one of the assignments in the class was to do a lip sync. It wasn't like a competition, but we all had to do like a lip sync performance. And all the girls were doing like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and stuff like that, or Backstreet Boys and pop music like that. And this came out in 99, so it would have been my sophomore year. I had the soundtrack. 99 was my freshman year, so it would have been my sophomore year. I had the soundtrack for The Man on the Moon, and I did the Mighty Mouse performance, the Saturday Night Live Mighty Mouse performance, as my lip sync. And the next year, when I enrolled in the class, the teacher was like, "Hey, can you help me explain this assignment?" Because I'm sure she was like, "Yeah, do this lip sync thing," and everybody's like, "I'm gonna do the sexy like dance pop stuff." I'm sure she was like fine with it, but there was a point to it, and I think she wanted to express, see another side of it. And so she was like, "If you just do that again, the Mighty Mouse thing again, I'll just give you an automatic A, just to like help me out. But you have to go first." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem." So I got an A on that assignment 2 years in a row. Anyway, Andy Kaufman's badass. Yeah, Judd Hirsch's scene is amazing, and it is very much a prime moment in the film, not to be missed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's a short segment of the movie, but it's very important to Sammy's character, and it really, in regards to understanding the science versus art elements, it's very involved into like what art means and what you have to do and sacrifice in the name of art. And it's just a really good scene. So I don't know. There's a lot of great stuff in this movie. There is some unbalanced parts. Like everything in the movie is good and makes sense, but I think some of it maybe was not. I don't want to say shoehorned in because there is a topic of anti-Semitism in this movie, and it's really important, especially right now, to talk about those things. But the other themes we've talked about, like art versus science, the family dynamics and stuff like that, take so much precedent in this movie that when you see these moments of bullying and anti-Semitism, it did feel a little rough in the transition, just a little bit. I have different opinions on transitioning things in the next movie I'm going to review. Excuse me, I need to take a drink. But it all still worked. It was all still important. I'll finish up this review here. How do I overall feel about this movie? I liked this movie a lot. I do feel like it's getting a lot of talk about awards in various areas. There are some awards I do think that are probably merited. Best supporting actors could get thrown out there. I think Judd Hirsch should probably be nominated for that. While I do love both Michelle Williams and Paul Dano, I don't know that their performances were better than other performances I've seen this year. And again, Michelle Williams, like, instead of feeling like, and I don't know how much of this was intentional or not, but instead of feeling like somebody we could connect with in a modern sense, she felt like that transatlantic actor of the time, you know. She didn't have that, like, that the vocal the transatlantic accent that a lot of actors were doing at the time, but she is like so over like she's very passionate as this character, and it does feel a little disconnected from stuff sometimes, especially when you get like teenage Sammy, where he's just like, yeah, can I go like film a movie? And she's like, I don't know, can you? And you're like, whoa, okay. So I don't know how much of that was intentional on the movie's part, or if it was just a choice by Michelle Williams to go a certain route. I didn't dislike it, and I think she does a good job, but I don't know that it's better than some of the other performances I've seen throughout this year. So on the award stuff, I will leave it at that. I think it has potential, and because it's a Spielberg movie, it probably will get some acknowledgement, and it probably does deserve some. I just don't think I want to see it on like best director or best film of the year. I hope they're not on those lists, because I don't know that. I don't personally feel like they are best picture or best directed movie of the year. Director, maybe. This movie has that Spielberg magic for sure to it. It feels very those moments of wonder when for example, Sammy discovers or has a breakthrough on something. Like, you feel it. Spielberg makes you feel those moments. So I don't know. I think overall I'm gonna give this movie, let's see, pull up my Smelly Pit rating. I think I'm going to give the Fabelmans probably, I'm going to go 4.5 Smelly Pits out of 5. that's a good movie. It's definitely worth seeing, I would say. And another thing that I want to point out too, just because all of the movies that I have seen in this last like 2 weeks are long movies. This was the shortest of them. This was like 2.5 hours. Whereas Avatar is like 2 hours and 10 minutes, and Babylon is like 3 hours. Or sorry, I said Avatar was 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's 3 hours and 10 minutes, and Babylon is also like 3 hours and 10 minutes. So, yeah, I'm giving the Fabelmans 4.5 smelly pits. If you're not familiar with my rating system, get familiar with it. Smell some pit. These are good. This is a good rating for me. It's out of 5. It's not out of 10, you know. So 5 is a stellar movie. I thought this was a good movie. And I think it deserves some of the recognition, but I hope it gets appropriate amount of attention if we're talking about the Academy Awards. So, anyways, that's where we're at with the Fabelmans. I did enjoy this movie. I walked out, thinking about it quite a bit. And then I went and saw Avatar. And my review for Avatar is, just go to the channel and check out my Avatar review. It was last week, so last Friday, a week from today. All right. Well, let's do a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about Babylon, which was another Hollywood movie. Another movie. Well, of course, it's a Hollywood movie. Another movie about Hollywood. So we'll talk about that here in just a few seconds. See you then.
I'm Richard from Richard's Pet Wedding Facilities, and I give these stickers away at every pet wedding. The kids love them too. This bag from, what's his name? Wild Dinosaur? Weren't they all wild? What an oxymoron. Anyways, I like to put my special things in this bag. Plus, I'm pretty sure this is my spirit animal.
Life gave me lemons, so I sold them for this sweet baseball tee. And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial that you've seen probably 82 times at this point. I'll probably make some new commercials here in the new year to throw up. I still have that 15-second one, but that's just baseball shirts. They're still available. Still get baseball tees on wilddinosaur.com. I love those baseball tees. For being somebody that's like tall and lanky, they fit me quite well. And I've historically had problems with that. I'm a knuckle dragger. My appendages are super lanky. I should rephrase that. My arms are really long. And sometimes sometimes sleeves like stop around here, you know. Baseball shirts though, they do stop there on purpose. They're 3/4 sleeves is what they're considered, I guess. But when you know that the sleeve is supposed to be that way, I can get behind it. When the sleeve is supposed to be at your wrist and it's down here, I can't get behind it. It's too small. I had a jacket my brother got me once. That was super awesome, but it was too small in that regard. It was a bummer. Okay, so I have one other movie to talk about today. It would be this one, Babylon. Baby Lon Harris. Baby Lion. So this is the second movie about Hollywood that I saw this week. This is directed by Damien Chazelle, who did La La Land and Whiplash. And I want to give a little bit of a preface to this, I guess. I'm not a big fan of Damien Chazelle. Not as a person, as a director. I don't know him personally, so La La Land was not a film I even remotely considered seeing. It's not necessarily the type of movie I go out of my way to see. I know it won a ton of awards, and maybe they're deserved, maybe they're not, I don't know. But I did see Whiplash, and I will tell you, I did not like Whiplash for a lot of reasons. I'll tell you something I think Damien Chazelle does well is he has an Inarritu style sound design and at times cinematography. I don't know who did the cinematography in this, but there are moments that reminded me of Birdman. Birdman was a movie I didn't see originally. I think I bought it after a holiday one year on iTunes because it was like rent it for $3 or buy it for $5, and I'm like, I'll just buy it, whatever. And I liked Birdman a lot more than I expected, and I rewatched it a couple of quarters ago for school, and there's some really great stuff in that movie. So yeah, Pat and I went and saw this movie last night. This is a 3-hour and 10-minute movie. And I think what I'm going to say right off the bat is this movie should have been 2 hours and 10 minutes. They should have cut half hour at least from this movie. If it was a 2.5 hour movie, I think it would have been fine. It was too long. It was way too long. Avatar being 3 hours and 10 minutes is a visual spectacle. And even if some of the story points get a little weak at times, I'm so immersed into the world of Pandora and what's going on in Avatar that 3-hour runtime, by the end of it, I was like, give me a pee break. Let's do part 2 right now. Like, I could have gone and watched the second one at another 3 hours or whatever. Babylon, so Pat and I were, there was 3 people in the theater. Pat and I were 2 of them. And we didn't sit next to the other person or anything. They were way far from us. And I don't like to be rude. I tend to have pretty good theater etiquette. I never pull out my phone. I pulled out my phone like 4 times during this movie to check the time. That's how I felt about it. And that's not to say there aren't entertaining things about this movie. But the runtime is way too long. This movie has more to spoil, I think, than the Fabelmans does, and I'll refrain from spoiling too much, if anything. I think aside from the runtime, one other thing that really bothered me, there's I have negatives, but there's 2 things that really bothered me. The runtime really bothered me, and the ending really bothered me. Really, really bothered me. And it wasn't just like, how the story ended. It was editorial choices that we had to sit through after having to endure this movie for 3 hours. They then made us sit through this weird montagey cut thing at the end. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I did not like how this movie ended in the slightest. I'm just going to say this. Out of the 2 movies about Hollywood, this one sucks its own dick more than the Fabelmans. I thought it was going to be weird when a director directs his own biography, essentially. Spielberg does a pretty good job. This movie is very much Hollywood patting itself on the back. I'll change the expression. Patting itself on the back. It's not the original expression I was using, as you heard previously. Yeah, this movie started off actually kind of strong, though. The party scene that you guys see in the trailers for it, Margot Robbie's in the red dress and everything like that. That was pretty fun, and not as technical as Birdman in some of the scenes, but it was composed musically and choreographed visually really well, where you see things going on. There's this whole movie revolves around like a jazz score, like pretty much like 99%. There might have been one or two other modern day cues that I might have missed or wasn't paying attention to. The majority of this film revolves around jazz, and I like the score. I think it works well. A lot of it was upbeat. Oh, you know, I forgot to look up something. I think I recognized a band that I like, and I wonder if they did. I wonder if they did the score. I don't see them listed for anything, and maybe if they do a little deep dive, there's a lot of moments that sound like a band called Too Many Zoos. If you're not familiar with Too Many Zoos, go check them out. They're really great. They're like a 3-piece brass band. There's like a baritone sax player and a trumpet player and a stand-up. What am I trying to say? Bass drum, like a marching band bass drum. I looked it up, and I think it's Justin Horowitz who also composed the music for La La Land. It might be, but I do think that he probably outsourced the music. He probably wrote it, but I do think it sounded too much like Too Many Zoos. It sounded too. It sounded like everything I've ever heard from them before. It might be. It might not be either. But Too Many Zoos is really badass. You go check them out. They do a genre of music called brass house. It's just like brass instruments doing like house music. And a lot of their videos are like them in the subways of New York, busking and stuff like that. And they rock it every time. And they've been putting out music for a couple of years now. But yeah, I would not be surprised because this movie just came out, so I wouldn't be surprised if in the next like couple of weeks or whatever we started hearing like other people jumping in the score, because yeah, I don't know, it was just too spot on for me. I still believe it's Too Many Zoos, and I will until I find out otherwise. But yeah, Babylon, it did start off strong. I did like some of that party scene in the beginning of the film. It does work really well, but then as the movie like dragged on, I started to feel like they should have cut that down a bit. I didn't time how long the scene was, but it's probably 5 to 10 minutes for that whole party scene, and had they chopped it down a couple of minutes, I think it would have helped. I would have liked this movie better if it was 2.5 hours. Definitely would have liked this movie if it was like 2.5 hours. I still wouldn't have liked the ending though, and how that went down. It's really mostly an editorial choice, I think. And yeah, oh man, I don't want to spoil it. It was just hard. Pat probably heard me. I was like audibly like, what the fuck is going on right now? And I like I said, I usually have pretty good theater etiquette. I don't pull my phone out. I don't talk during movies. Even if I have like a wrapper for like candy or something like that, I always try to like, instead of like, I always try to like be careful with it and stuff. But like yesterday I was just like, what the fuck is this? What's going on here? So yeah, let's see, what else is there? The cast is great. We got Brad Pitt as Jack Conrad. He's big movie star that kind of ages out of Hollywood. This whole movie, it very much has the tropes of the legacy of Hollywood carries. You know, there's Margot Robbie's character, who's this. These are all pretty much not one-to-one comparisons, but they're basically versions of people that did exist. It's not like Margot Robbie's playing a character of like exactly a character that lived in Hollywood. She's playing a couple of people that like these stories happen to in real life. And there's basically three leads in this movie. It's it's Brad Pitt's Jack Conrad, Margot Robbie's Nellie Leroy, and then another actor I wasn't super familiar, not familiar with at all, Diego Calva, played Manny Torres, and he plays basically just kind of like he starts off as like a elephant handler, like he's just like doing things for people, like little jobs to like survive and get by, and he works his way up through the Hollywood pipelines, I guess, you know, becomes an executive, and he was a really good part of the movie. I thought he was one of the better parts of the movie, although with the length of the movie, and I guess all three of the mains have enough to do, but I do feel like there was a lot of moments with Manny's character where it's just shots of him looking, you know, he's in love with Margot Robbie's character, and so there's moments where she's doing something and he's just like, and then they'll like show her again, and then it's like close up of him being like, it's not that creepy. He's not that creepy in the movie. I'm making this way more creepy, but like maybe cut out some of those like duplicate reaction shots. I don't know. That wasn't a big problem, I guess, but it just, I think anything to do to cut the time of this movie down would help it like a lot. If this was 2.5 hours, I would have liked this a lot better. There's another focal point in the movie, and this is this African American trumpet player in a jazz band, Jovan Adepo, who I'm not familiar with at all. He was maybe one of the more standouts for me, but he got not a lot to do in this. They throw in all these storylines of like, there's a woman in Hollywood, here's an aging man in Hollywood, here's a Latino working his way up into and I like how they portray a lot of this stuff, but to get into like, here's this trumpet player who deals with all this, like supposedly deals with all this racism, which you get a little bit in the movie, but like not a lot. He's like a fourth storyline that, as much as it's important to tell that, I feel like he didn't get the time for a 3 hour. Yeah, I'm sitting here talking about cutting this movie down. Either cut him out of the movie or like do a better job telling it, because I don't even think, well, you see the trumpet player in the beginning, all of them are at this party in the beginning. But as the movie goes on, I like completely forgot about him until like the end of the second act or something like that, when they start to bring him in for more weighty moments. Again, they're important, but I don't know. This was really unbalanced in the storylines for me. Way too long. And oh man, that ending. The more I think about the ending, the more it makes me mad. Both Pat and I, after the movie, I don't even know if the movie was completely over yet. I think the credits had just started rolling, and I think I was like, finally, oh my god! And then Pat was like, I thought the movie ended like at this point, and I was like, there was like 5 moments where I felt the movie had just ended, and then it kept going. Let's see. Oh, there. This is something I don't know, Pat, if you're still listening, if or not. We didn't talk about this at all. Flea is in this movie. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I know he acts because he's been doing it for a while. Oh shit! What I remember seeing him in. What's that? Oh my gosh! Why am I forgetting? The dude abides. The Big Lebowski. He's in The Big Lebowski. Yeah. He's in The Big Lebowski, and then of course he's in Obi-Wan. He's in the Obi-Wan series. This is the best I've ever seen him. He plays a movie executive in this movie, and every time he walks into frame, I feel like he is a movie executive that's about to like. He just like pierces into you, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna get fired right now. My life is over. Oh my god, like every time he was on screen, I felt that. Oh yeah, Back to the Future 2. Why am I forgetting that? That's his greatest role. No, this is the best acting I think I've seen Flea do. That I can think of. Hold on, I'm pulling up his IMDb because I want to see his acting credits. Wow, he's been in 100. Well, okay, never mind. I was gonna say he's been in 106 things as an actor, but as I like scroll through, like Red Hot Chili Pepper music videos are listed in here, so there's a lot. So yeah, Babylon, Obi-Wan. He's done some voice work. He's done a lot of stuff actually. He's in Baby Driver, and never saw that movie. Everybody's always told me I should watch that movie. Yeah, let's see. What's his actual like first? Whoa, no way. He is credited in 1983 in The Outsiders. That's incredible. I didn't know he was in The Outsiders. I would agree. Spike Jonze was also hilarious as the craziest German director. I totally didn't even realize that was Spike Jonze, to be quite honest. But that was hilarious. That was really fun. Those scenes where I'm trying to get the camera, those were really fun scenes from the movie as well. Yeah, Back to the Future 2 is Needles. He's in 2 and 3. Roadside Prophets. The Ben Stiller Show. He was on the Ben Stiller Show. Oh man. Yeah, so he's been doing stuff for a while. He did a he did a voice on Duckman. I don't know if anybody remembers Duckman. Yeah, Nihilist number 2 in The Big Lebowski. Oh yeah, duh, and he's in Fear and Loathing. Jeez, the more and more I look at his resume, I'm like, oh yeah, he's been in stuff. I do still, even though I just read off a bunch of stuff, I still think that this is probably one of the best acting I think I've seen him do. He's always fun when he pops up. Not always fun. I mean that. The worst thing I think I've seen him do is maybe that chase scene in the Obi-Wan series was really bad. Ooh, Albert Hammond Jr. was a guest in one of the scenes here in Babylon. But yeah, so okay, so what else do I have to say about this movie? It's based in history, but it's also not about actual events, but it's reminiscent of the time frame and era and the debauchery going on. Let's see. Yeah, Brad Pitt's great. You know, I don't really have too much to say about Brad Pitt, although I was very entranced, I guess, every time he was on screen, because he just does such a great job as an actor overall. One of my favorite death scenes of all time is one of his. It's what? Not Sorry to Bother You. He's not in that one. Oh, what is that one? Burn After Reading. Burn After Reading. Oh my god, that movie is weird. The whole half hour or so was on this silent sets was probably the best part. Yeah, the like filming the movie scenes was fun. They did a lot of like montagey stuff for some of that, which I think it was good that they did montagey stuff in to pay attention to if they didn't montage some of that stuff, the movie would have been 4 hours. I'm glad they didn't do that. But also, I even think some of those montage scenes should have been whittled down a little bit better. Particularly, I think that scene, they're doing like a juxtaposition montage where you're showing 3 different storylines. And it was when Margot Robbie's getting her first break. Remember that? She's on the set and she's doing that Western and she jumps up on the thing and starts dancing around. Like, they could have cut that down, I think, by a couple minutes. There are some really great scenes in this. The other one that I really enjoyed, actually, don't know if I want to say this because when they start incorporating sound into movies, excuse me, super gassy right now. They started incorporating sound into movies. There's a scene where Margot Robbie's character is adjusting to having to hit her mark and say a line and make sure the microphone picks it up just right. That also could have gotten whittled down a bit. It was a funny scene, the way that they did it overall. I did get exhausted by the end of the scene, how they put that together. But it is reminiscent of an actual movie that that I've seen through my course, and then they show it later on. Manny's having an emotional reaction watching a movie later on, and they actually show the clip of what I had seen, not the like fictionalized version, but they actually show the scene, and he's reminiscing about, you know, the Margot Robbie moment. And I don't know, I did think that they tied some of the fiction to the fact together pretty good. Yeah, there was so many unnecessary things though. There is a big cameo. I don't know if I should say anything. I mean, he's in the poster that I'm showing, which, by the way, this is from IMDb, so this was official marketing. So I guess I'm going to say it. Tobey Maguire makes a cameo in this. As weird and kind of funny as it is, it felt kind of unnecessary overall. Maybe that's another 15 to 20 minutes to get rid of from that movie. So I don't know. I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end this review here. So that means I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna do my smelly pit rating. Babylon, I did not like as much as The Fabelmans overall. Both these movies are about Hollywood, and they're about, I'll just say it, I'll use my PG analogy again. They like to pat themselves on the back. I would say in regards to which movie I liked better, The Fabelmans I liked better. It doesn't have the style and it doesn't have the score that Babylon has, which makes Babylon more entertaining. And there's a quick pacing to Babylon, which moves things along fairly quickly, even though it's a long ass movie. The Fabelmans I overall enjoyed more as a film. It hit a lot of the beats that it needed to, right? Look at that. There's a cat back there. He's over there. That stupid cat. I'm just kidding. He's not a stupid cat. He's just a dick. That's all. I think the Fabelmans works a little better. It has more heart to it. It has, the ending's ambiguous, but it's based in reality, so you know, like, what happens with this person. He becomes, like, spoiler alert, Steven Spielberg's one of the greatest directors of all time. So but with Babylon, you get a little, like, overview of the Hollywood industry. And as fun as some of those moments in Babylon are, I just don't like it as much, and I don't really recommend this movie, quite honestly. If you're a fan of Damien Chazelle, sure, check it out. It's probably going to be on your list. I will say I like this movie better than, again, I haven't seen La La Land because it just is not my kind of movie. But I like this better than Whiplash for sure. So I'm going to give Babylon. How many smelly pits am I going to give Babylon? I think I'm going to give it 2.5. It's fun. The acting's really good. And I think there's some really fun pacing too. I loved the score. If I'm referencing a band that I really like, Too Many Zoos, thinking they're doing the score, they're doing something right there. But overall, it's way too long of a movie. It was way too long of a movie. And I did not ultimately appreciate how the movie itself ended. Again, to compare to the Fabelmans, there's a more complete story here, where you do get more of a definitive ending than just like and then all of this happened to the world. There's just a little bit more. It's Fabelmans is a little bit more personable, and also does kind of inspire hope. It's a Spielberg movie, so he loves to do those things. He likes to bring the magic out. And there's moments of Babylon where there's really fun magic, but ultimately it did not stick any sort of landing for me. So 2.5 smelly pits. That might even be a little generous, to be honest. I need to reevaluate my rating system. Not the rating system, but just my own thought process about ratings, I guess. What did you, have you guys seen any of these movies? I know Pat did, because I was there for at least one of these with you. If you guys saw either The Fabelmans or Babylon, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. If you thought that my take on it was dumb, or if you liked the ending to Babylon, I would love to hear why you liked it. Be an interesting discussion to have. So, look, before I get out of here, there's not just the standard ending. I need some help. If you're watching this now and in the future, please consider leaving a comment here. I don't know if I'm doing one of my classes this quarter, and I'm kind of considering doing 3 days a week again. I'm considering going Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The other thing I need help on is for Wednesday's episode, I did the 90s nostalgia with my buddy Ryan. And we are talking about doing more of those, and for at least the next couple of months, doing them weekly. So if I do 3 episodes a week and you get one episode where it's a 90s nostalgia and we focus on a specific thing, like we did with Space Hog, we've talked about some other stuff that we would maybe consider doing a deep dive on. Doing that for an episode, and then having maybe that's the Wednesday episode, maybe our Monday episodes as I talk about some news and stuff like that. And then I know Pat's probably listening still, and I'm not making this like a total official thing, but like Fridays, maybe Pat's on and we joke around and stuff like that. So you guys would get a little bit different content throughout the week from Jon Does. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. If I do start, I'll be honest, I'm leaning towards doing 3 days a week. And if I do that, I'll probably start January 2nd. So like after next week. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about any of the movies I talked about today, or if you think I should be doing more of this. I think I should be doing more of this. Every time I look down at my Rodecaster's like, Jon, turn me on and start streaming. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious about what you guys think about this show. You know what? Maybe I should pull this up too. I'm also considering this. What do you guys think about this? Oh, this is the first time I've seen it with chat. What do you think about the full screen? Should I switch it up to this? I don't know. Been contemplating these things. This or that. Full screen or the regular window. I like both. I think the full screen's a nice little change up, but I also like this too because it gives me a place for the chat and to do, graphics for things. But the full screen's not bad either. And if I could do a little bit more adjusting, I can find a place to throw up, like, if I'm talking about a movie, I can throw, the poster or something up there too. Anyways, I'm going to get back to this. For now, we'll use this for now. Maybe we do the full screen for, like, the 90s nostalgia episodes or something. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to get going. Look, this weekend is Christmas. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Those of you who celebrate Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. And any other holidays. Happy holidays all around. Kwanzaa. I'm not familiar with everything. I don't even like Christmas. So just for my own thing. I could go without holidays, but I like to give everybody their due respect to their holiday season. That being said, go check out wilddinosaur.com and get some great gifts for the new year. Again, we got great t-shirts, sweatshirts, tote bags, socks, stickers, all kinds of fun stuff. Hopefully this year I'll be getting some more designs up. I need to get in a good I'm kind of all over the place right now because I need to find some better income, or more consistent income, I should say. Being an artist is real fun because everybody respects artists and pays them what they're worth. So growing this channel is part of that, getting you guys to stream some of my music, and Pat's music too. New Pants. Pat's gonna have some stuff coming out this year. 2023, I think we're gonna have a couple of records coming out. New Pants, we'll be doing our final one before we retool. Pat is, I think, putting out some solo stuff this year. Wild Dinosaur's got, oh man, don't even get me started. I have like 2 demo records that I've been working on, and now I want to scrap all of them and do something else. We'll see how that happens. But you'll get some more Wild Dinosaur music this year. Hopefully some directing too, some shorts. music videos are not off the table. I would love to make more music videos. So actually, I sold the keyboard that was right here for the last couple of weeks to a guy who's in a band. So maybe he wants maybe he wants a music video done or something. So yeah, if you guys don't mind liking and subscribing and sharing and like, it's really helpful. It would just be really helpful actually. All of my Jon Does episodes go into a playlist. Throw that playlist on and then pass out. Let them just autoplay. That would help me so much. Getting all of the hours for the monetization would be great. Yeah. So anyways, that's enough about me bitching about being a struggling artist. The other thing I want to leave you guys with is there is a link in the description to donate to Planned Parenthood, because I think Planned Parenthood is quite amazing. They do quite a lot of great stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of there's an attack on health. There's not an attack on healthcare. We don't believe in healthcare in the United States, so nobody gets it. But yeah, healthcare kind of sucks here, and Planned Parenthood does some great stuff for reproductive health, family planning, all kinds of stuff. And it's not just women, guys. Go get your dangle looked at. Get a cop of feel. You got testy cancer? They'll let you know. You got the burns? Does it burn when you pee? They'll let you know. They'll do it all. You need some condoms? They usually have bowls of them just sitting out in the lobby for free. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great holiday. I'll be back next Wednesday, same normal time. And Pat and I will be doing our not on Wednesday. I think we're doing it Friday, but Pat and I will be doing our final episode of the end of the year top 10 stuff. It will be our top 10 movies of the year. Which, are any of these two going to make it on my list? You're just going to have to come back next Friday and find out. And Pat's favorite movie is the one directed by Taylor Swift. I'm just kidding. All right, guys, have a good holiday. Get some rest and relaxation. Go spend time with your friends and family and stuff like that. And I will be back on Wednesday, so I will see you guys then. Oh, later.